Yeah, it's a good situation to be in. You know, I think look at our 53-man roster, and I'd like to be in that situation every week during the regular season. So it's a good situation there. They're good football players. We got a lot of good football players out there, and it's exciting to watch them work. It's exciting to watch them grow as the week goes on. I thought today's practice was even better than yesterday's practice. So it's a good thing for us as a football staff that we really get a chance to work with these guys and really get a chance to find out even more than just what they are as a football player, find out a little bit more about them as an individual.
What stood out about today's practice to you? Any players in particular, or just how it went?
Well, I mean, I just thought overall, I thought the tempo of practice and the way that the guys worked and the way the guys competed throughout the practice, I thought was outstanding. You know, I think it's very good to watch these guys when they get in those individual one-on-one type of drills. And today we had you know, linebackers and safeties versus tight ends and running backs in a pass protection. So it was good to see some of those backs step up in pass protection and see what they could do. A lot of them hadn't been asked to do a lot of that, so that was a good thing to see. And then, you know, obviously we always enjoy the one-on-one pass rush with the O-line and D-line.
Coach, could you talk what it's like for you as a coach to, you know, kind of nurse these guys through their first NFL experience, so to speak, and get them ready for the league?
Well, I mean, you feel a sense of responsibility that's part of your job, and that's part of the reason why we're here. Obviously, for us, as the Oakland Raiders, we want to get an opportunity to evaluate these guys and these players and see really what makes them tick, both as a football player and as an individual. But I also feel like we've got an obligation to teach them what it takes to be a football player in the National Football League. There's a higher sense of activity that you've got to do to be successful in the National Football League. You've got to really increase what your expectations are of yourself, because the expectations of the organization that you go to are going to be greater than anything that you've experienced so far. So I feel like that's part of the responsibility of us as coaches and the Senior Bowl to prepare these guys for that.
What stands out most about Eric Fisher?
Just his footwork, his athleticism. You know, obviously he's a very big man, but to be that agile and to be that athletic at the offensive tackle position is pretty impressive.
Coach, how are you going to use Denard Robinson this week and in the game, primarily receiver and returner? Will you play any running back, corner, anything else you're going to do?
Well, we had a team meeting Monday night, and he introduced himself, or excuse me, Sunday night. He introduced himself as Denard Robinson, University of Michigan athlete. So that's kind of the way we plan on using him. We're going to line him up in a couple of different positions. He hasn't been able to participate fully in practice yet. We anticipate him being able to do that tomorrow. But we're going to try to move him around and do a few different things with him and just try to evaluate what he can do.
What stood out to you about him so far with what he has been able to do?
Well, he's been limited in what he's been able to do, but I just think his athleticism. I think this guy's an incredible athlete. He's got great speed, great quickness, and I think he's certainly a weapon when you can get the ball in his hands in space.
Coach, I know you're not the team doctor, but what happened to Kyle Long?
He was sick today.
Oh, just sick?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, he was just sick, had some flu-like symptoms. As a matter of fact, I saw him after practice. He was going to head back to his room, get a little rest. I anticipate him being ready to go for tomorrow.
Desmond Trufant comes from obviously a long line of pretty good corners. What have you seen from him?
I've been impressed with him. You know, to play the corner position, you got to have a little bit of, you know, moxie, a little bit of swagger. That's the thing that kind of stands out to me. You know, he believes that this is the spot that he ought to be. He believes that he should fit in the National Football League, and when you watch him go out there and practice and play, even though this is the best of the best, he hadn't backed down. So I like that about him.
Jerry Rice said today that he agrees with a lot of what Tim Brown said yesterday. Is there any validity to that, or? You know,
I wasn't there, so I really don't know. I find it hard to believe, but you know, that was something that happened 10 years ago, and I really wasn't a part of it, so I don't guess I really have much of a comment on it.
Does it make sense for a coach to switch his game plan that quickly before the Super Bowl?
Again, I'm not there. Situations dictate what you feel like you need to do, so
I really don't know what that was.
Or international safety, Jonathan Cyprian, seems like another guy might have a little swagger. What do you thought about him so far?
I like his toughness. I like his aggressiveness. Showed a little bit of range in the back end. I've been real impressed with the way that he's gone about doing his work this week.
Do you feel like competitive spirit amongst players, even though it can cause conflict, is good for building team morale and team spirit?
Well, I think anytime you go out on the football field, anytime you play or practice in a game-like environment, you have to compete. And that's the only way that you get better. Everything you do is creating habits. You're either creating good habits or bad habits. And so every time those guys go out there on the field, you want them to compete. And I think it's a great environment in the way that they're competing. But yet, all of us on the North squad, we're on the same team. And we all have the same goal in mind for these players to make it in the National Football League. So you want to make sure that you compete, but you compete the right way and keep everybody up, keep everybody healthy.
Can you talk a little bit about the 3 quarterbacks that you have and how you're trying to showcase what they can do?
Well, we're gonna try to look at a lot of different things as far as what they can do. I think they've all really done a nice job. Dysert's a guy that took a lot of snaps from the shotgun, so we've gotten him up under the center a little bit and tried to see what he can do from a drop back standpoint, dropping back. He obviously has got some athleticism. He made a really nice throw today, from outside the pocket, so that was really nice to see. Ryan's done a really good job. He's a little bit more, kind of your prototypical drop back type of guy, but yet he's got some athleticism. I've been really impressed with him. I like a little bit of his swagger. And then obviously, Mike Lennon's one of those guys that's he really is truly your prototypical drop back passer, standing in the pocket. Made a really nice throw down the seam today in a 4 vertical situation, so that was good to see him. But yet, we want to try to see him get outside the pocket and see what kind of mobility he has and what he can do outside the pocket. I think one of the things that you try to do with some of these guys is, you try to see maybe what's not viewed as a strength of theirs. You want to put them in those situations and just see how they respond. So part of it is we want to, kind of play to their strengths a little bit, but the other thing is we want to see what they do, maybe on some of those things that are a little bit out of their comfort level.
How unique of an athlete is Marcus Hunt? I mean, just the size, he really stands out, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, you notice him when he stands out there. I mean, he'd be the first one we'd walk off the bus. He looks like a football player, and he was impressive in some of the things that he's done. I think he's a really good athlete. He's kind of unique because he can do a lot of different things. I mean, he can play, end in a 4-3 defense. He could also potentially play end in a 3-4 defense lineup on the tackle. So I think one of the things about him that makes him unique is his length. Not only is he tall, but he's got long arms and really can create some separation, get off blocks.
Is there any advantage to the fact that he is young to the game and new, and maybe the teaching that he gets now is what will stick?
Well, I think one of the things that you look at in all of these guys is what potential upside do these guys have, and he's one of those guys that really you got to look at, does he understand the fundamentals and understand the concepts of the game, and if he understands that and he's got the athleticism, then you can project and see the growth as far as being a football player. So that's one of the things we're looking at with him.
Two more.
You've worked with Sean Payton before, if you don't mind digressing. What's your reaction to him being reinstated today, and how do you think he'll respond to that?
I think he'll respond great. I'm excited for him. He's a football coach. He deserves to be coaching football, and I'm glad he's back.
Coach, the Texas wide receiver Marcus Goodwin.
Fast.
One of the players represented this country in the Olympics and a track star. Just what you say immediately fast. How impressed are you with this?
I'm impressed, but I tell you what, I've also been impressed with. I've been impressed with his that's like disco. Get the disco ball out here, we'll be all right. I've been impressed, not only with his speed, but I've been impressed with his route running. A lot of times you see some of these young guys that are fast and they're not really polished as far as their route running is concerned, and he's run